everybody. Welcome to What the Frick Live. It's Emily and Will. Hello, Will Martinez.
Good evening. Good evening, Emily. What's going on?
Good evening. We're coming up on spooky season. I'm sorry. I'm already in the mood.
No, we are.
First part of August, I'm in the mood of spooky season. I'm ready for a pumpkin spice.
It's right around the corner. It really is. I mean,
it's going to be here before you know it.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I know.
School starts next week for us. How about you?
For us too. Yeah, on Monday.
Next week.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next week. So the summer went by. It's going to be here in no time. And another reason why I can't wait for spooky season to start, because we talked about this before the show went on, but Beetlejuice.
Yes, yeah, the movie.
I cannot wait. Yes, it's
highly anticipated. Yeah. Yes. No, listen, it's been for how long now? Over what, 30 years? 40 years now?
30 years, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael Keaton, though, it keeps showing up in my FYP on TikTok. Michael Keaton is the bomb diggity. Like, there's no other Beetlejuice. Like, you can't ever have anybody else ever play that role.
And to me, he's always going to be Batman too. It's just
Batman also. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, what's going on over there at Dark Fringe Radio, Will?
We're still on hiatus. We actually are recording tomorrow, so we'll have a brand new episode for you guys next week. So be on the lookout, darkfringeradio.com. Brand new episode 150. So we'll be exploring some very interesting topics next week. I will let the suspense kill you guys until then. So check it out, darkfringeradio.com.
Are you going to do a live anytime soon? Because I'm all for that. Like,
I want to do one. No, I definitely want to do one, but I'm not sure if this next one's going to be a live one because of the subject matter.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me want it to be live.
Yeah. I know, but then I get kicked off of Facebook going live and that kind of stuff, and then it's a whole big problem. And then nobody gets here anymore.
Speaking of Facebook, though, really quick, out of all things that went viral on What the Frick Live page, it was the Gypsy Rose video. I saw that. I was laughing so hard I was crying. 2 million views. Like, should we do a show on Gypsy Rose? Like, I deep dived her. I don't think she's a victim. I think she's a psychopath.
She seems like a mental case to me.
Yeah. Something's not right with her, and people forget that she was in her 20s, mid-20s actually, when she plotted this against her mother. She wasn't 14, 15 or anything like that. But I've gone down that rabbit hole now. But out of all things that would go viral on What the Frick Live, Gypsy Rose, like, what the heck?
That, the Hawk 2 girl, that,
Hawk 2, yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, this, what goes viral in this, day and age is amazing because it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
Yes. Hello from Atlanta. It doesn't make sense whatsoever considering the subject matter. But anyway, thank you for all the viewers on that clip. It was not me. Obviously, you're looking at this now. You can tell it wasn't me. But I found that on TikTok. I laughed so hard I was crying. But anyway, moving forward, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble this evening. Please share this out. Give us a heart on Facebook. It keeps us in the algorithm. Make comments. Ask questions. That also keeps us in the algorithm. And hello, everybody tuning in. We got the Reverend Wild Bill from Atlanta. We got Matthew Bradley. Good to see you, Matt. Hadn't seen you in a while. And Harlan on here too. Hello.
Hey, guys.
Good to see everybody this evening. Speaking of spooky season, one more thing I'd like to say is that I just need one more person, one more storyteller. We're doing Haunted October different this year. We're doing more storytelling shows. We got
anything like haunted objects, anything.
Okay. Anything. Right. Storytelling. We got the Nickel Tree from New Orleans. She has tons of she even a nun story that happened to her, a haunted nun story. That's phenomenal. Can't wait. She'll be sharing that on the show. And then we have another eerie legends and folklore out of Washington, D.C., talking about all the Washington, D.C. hauntings up there. So I have one more spot open because I have another spot open for a celebrity guest for October. But I have one more spot open. So if you have any of those stories, you like storytelling, like telling us your spooky stories, please contact us here at What the Frick Live. Okay. Speaking of spooky stories, because anything out of the woods.
Oh boy.
The woods is scary places. It takes special
Yes,
people
it
to
is.
go down in the woods to hunt. But we're going to bring on Blake. He's been on the show before. He's from the Lost Cryptids Conservatory show. They dabble anything Bigfoot investigation wise out in the woods. We're also going to be talking about Dogman because he has a conference coming up. But we're going to be talking about if you missed our first show, part 1, he talks about his first experience meeting Bigfoot and some things he's had Bigfoot yelling at him and the knocks and stuff out there. But he mentioned indigenous people and speaking to Bigfoot in an indigenous language, which got me on a rabbit hole. So we're going to be talking a lot about Bigfoot and how it's related to the indigenous culture. And possible rituals, and then stuff that he's caught over the summer. So let's bring Blake on from Lost Cryptids right now. Hello, Blake.
Hey.
Blake, can you hear us?
Hey, Big.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on the show, Blake.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear us?
Oh, yes, I can hear you guys now. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, that's
no
okay.
Thanks for coming on the show, Blake.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Well, I introduced you and everything. We talked about, the last time you were on the show and how you told us about your Bigfoot first time experiencing Bigfoot and some evidence that we showed. And I'll have that link in the description of the show, too, for people if they want to go back and reference the first show. But we appreciate you coming back on. And, when you were on the first episode here with you, our first show, you talked about doing some more research and investigations this summer. So we were talking about the woods and how scary it was. Have you been out in the woods this summer, Blake?
Oh, yeah, every weekend.
What anything that scared you so much that you don't want to go back? It sounds like no.
No. Most of the time when nothing happens, your mind's playing tricks on you. That can be more nerve-wracking than when stuff actually happens. I mean, it's pretty shocking, but at the same time so you always got to be mindful of that. But no, actually, I've been getting very interesting audio recordings and potential evidence of vocalizations and wood knocks and some very interesting things. So it's quite paying off.
Blake, let me ask you this. What geographical area are you covering currently, or did you cover over the summer?
Southeast Michigan, mid-Michigan, and we're about to head up to northern Michigan. And then sometime in the fall, going to head up to one of our spots in UP.
Okay. So does that any bleed over any kind of that investigation? Maybe sometimes from when you're investigating Bigfoot, maybe something else might come along. Maybe Dogman, Mothman. I don't know. There's a lot of things out there.
Yes. I think we talked about the stickman creature. And, that was in mid-Michigan. My Dogman sighting was in mid-Michigan. And there's a bunch of reports, of course, in more better habitat, less people, in northern Michigan. And then, of course, the UP, which is sparsely populated. Michigan has a population of about 9.5, give or take, million people. And the UP has 250,000 residents full-time. Wow. So a lot of space, a lot of interesting things, a lot of missing people, a lot of missing boats, aircrafts, things like that. So a lot of these things bleed over potentially no matter where you are in Michigan, actually. It's just,
so you said
happens.
UP? Did you say UP?
Yeah, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was thinking Upper Pennsylvania. Sorry. I'm over here. I'm so sorry. I was like, UP. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we do have an interesting cryptid that lives up there. It's called the Upers. They're Michigan folk. They're just Michigan people that live up there.
Oh, like feral people of the land?
No, just regular people.
Okay, all right.
we just call them Upers. Yeah, they call us trolls because we live under the bridge.
Jeepers Creepers or Wrong Turn or Jeepers Creepers Upers.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So when I've talked about this, Will probably knows way more about this than I do. But I'm fairly new to cryptids and everything, and Bigfoot and Sasquatch is actually the number one cryptid in my book about all of this. And just real quick, I do want you to mention your team that you work with too, with Lost Cryptids, just to insert what you all do really fast instead of having people go back and listen to the first show, if you don't mind. Blake?
Yeah, sure. Well, I got a small team. The other team members don't like to go on camera a lot of the times, but they do show up at events and when it counts in the field. And Tyler does audio work. He has a really nice long-term audio setup. They go for a couple weeks straight, nonstop, actually. And he's caught some weird stuff, and he's actually had some weird stuff happen where it's malfunctioning where it shouldn't malfunction. After testing it at home regularly, you take it out in this field. In this one particular spot that always has weird stuff happen, it fails. And then you take it back home, it works perfectly fine and stuff. So,
wow.
And then, of course, James, the caller kid, he actually does a particular call that he drafted off of Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot, as goofy as it is, and he has literally made the entire forest of animals, regular animals, start going ballistic of his Bigfoot call. And it's actually produced a quite variety of different results that he's recorded by himself and also in us together. And one of the clips that we show, James is with us, and in fact, we actually get tree knock responses, and it's actually part of a bigger clip, a video series called Multiple Bigfoot Encounters, Bigfoot Escalation, and there's a couple other ones. But me and James are in it, and we're getting knocks and growls and grunted, and we got this orangutan whoop that wasn't recorded, unfortunately, but really freaked us out. James is really freaked out. It was his second time with me in the woods, third time in this area, first time major stuff is happening to both of us. And he gets kind of frightened and scared. He starts talking out as if there's people and stuff, and you can really tell. And I'm trying to keep him calm, cool, and collective, and everything's okay. We're just gonna basically, when stuff starts hitting the fan, you just calmly turn around, you start walk back to the car, walk out of there if you've had enough. And that's basically what happened after all that. So that's what that first clip is, the tree knock. Me and James, and that is basically the
go ahead, Blake.
Me and James, the tree's falling over, it's super green.
Is that one of the clips that you sent me?
Yes, if you have that up and ready. If not, it's okay.
Well, I have a couple clips. I have Woods Knock, the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. Is that the one you want me to play?
Yes, that would be
Wood Knock. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Well, it's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff.
Ooh, look at that.
Well,
that thing's not rotted out.
It's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff. Yeah. Well, it's a big pile of mess.
What was that? Hold on.
Well, it's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff. Yeah. Well, it's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff. Yeah.
What was that, Blake?
That is a tree knock, a wood knock.
I almost felt like it said something. I'm out of it. Like I felt like who's there or something, or what's that, or
that is I'm enhancing the sound right before it plays, and so you get that that hissing and that little enhancement.
Oh, okay.
And then you're hearing this tap of this knock sound. It's
like,
kind of hard. It's hard to pick out and it's hard to show, so that's why I gotta enhance it. But
that's okay. Let's listen.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
Just me and James react to it, and that was the first thing. And we started following the direction, and all the just stuff hitting the fan, escalation.
Let's listen to it one more time here.
Well, There's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff. Yeah. Well, there's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff. Yeah.
I heard the knock.
There's a big pile of mess. They could have flipped around and stuff. Yeah.
I heard the knock. What is that you're all standing in front of, though? Because it does look like a home to something.
We actually investigated it because that's what it caught our eye and stuff, and then of course the tree down. But what we discovered was the tree actually got struck by lightning and blew apart, and then there was charred bark at the very top of the base of the tree where it got blown apart, and evidence of it in the pile and stuff. So, but what is interesting is there is a rock pile or potential rock mound that is maybe 15 by 15 radius.
Oh, wow.
In this area, we have found about 5 other ones in various sizes from 20 by 20, 40, 20 by 40, 20 by 20, 15 by 15, 10 by 10. And these are off trail away from roads. Sometimes they're on ridge tops, not typically what I guess I would expect to find a rock pile or rock mound. The official explanation is the glaciers moved all these rocks into a pile and deposited them. Mm-hmm. But they're on top of the dirt, on top of leaves, on top of all the debris, and they don't look like they're thousands of years old since the ice ages. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know really what to expect. Some potential Native American mounds. There's a lot of mound builders, Native American. And giants and artifacts found in mounds all through Michigan, all through Appalachia and Tennessee, and where Pinocchio was, or Missouri, Mississippi, and all that. So you can't really dig into them. If you dig into them and you find Native American artifacts, you're supposed to contact people, and it would be illegal for you to do that knowingly if it was Native American burial grounds or stuff like that. And if you did find anything Native American, you're supposed to contact them immediately, because you'll get in trouble, and they will basically come there, do nothing, and coordinate it off, or take everything, and you'll never hear about it again.
Yeah.
Sounds like the CIA.
The Smithsonian government or different agencies, The Interior Department of the Department of Interior.
Department of Interior, right? Yeah. Like, do you think? Well, let me ask you this. I wanted to ask, since there's a lot of noise making and a lot of things of that nature. Have you ever used any kind of experimentation with frequency noise out in the woods? Maybe trying to communicate, or using different hertz of frequency noise out in the woods, for experimental purposes.
I am working on that stuff in the studio, but I've not applied it out in the woods. I have done different stuff, like a little squeak toy that broke apart. I took the squeaker out and I used that out there. Different ways. I do play different sounds and videos off of my phone out there. But I am working on different frequency hertz and sounds, and like blue noises, and I wouldn't say black noises, but like different stuff like that. There's different pitches and percussion blocks potentially, if get one and stuff. But you got to be careful, because you don't want to, just because we hear something a certain way doesn't mean that the animals or the potential target is going to hear something that's going to really piss it off. And, we're just trying to have fun and play an experiment. So I try to caution on some of that sort of stuff, but I am interested, and I have some stuff ready to go.
Well, Cheryl Lynn Carter is tuning in. Thank you, Cheryl. Actually, she's going to be a guest next week on the show for UFOs. But she uses tuning forks, which that's interesting. I haven't heard somebody say tuning forks in a long time. Or I was sitting here thinking about dog whistles. Like that's a frequency that we can't hear, but dogs react to. I wonder if Bigfoot or possible other dog man could react to something like that at that hertz level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
think the tuning fork would be very interesting. Is another thing that I've been thinking about. And dog whistle, you take your chances with the dog man, I guess.
I see it now. Nothing good there in the woods. So, you mentioned artifacts in Indian burial grounds and stuff earlier, and that's what I'm kind of concentrating on in my research of Bigfoot right now. I have not personally investigated Bigfoot. Will, have you?
No, skunk ape here in Florida. That's our version of Bigfoot. I've heard some stuff out in the woods, but I can't say what it was. I'd be lying if I told you if it was something. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've heard things, never seen anything, but I've heard things.
I've heard things. There's been a lot of witness testimony in the area that I live in Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, and things. But we have a lot of Indian burial grounds here too. We have the Serpent Mount, we have the Indian burial grounds, the Adena Indians, and everything. So, like where you're at in Michigan and stuff. One of my questions I wrote down today: what is there a role when you investigate with Bigfoot? And I think this is going to be an easy answer, but the folklore or local legends, and that could connect to Indian, research. Does that play a role into what when you all go out and investigate Bigfoot?
For me personally, it does. Yes. Overall, Michigan. The three main tribes are Ojibwa, Chippewa, or Ottawa, as they were originally called, and then Potawatomi. And they're collectively the sister tribes. They speak basically the same linguistic overall languages. They're just slightly different variations. And they're all collectively with the Cree and the Algonquin language group family that spreads through North Canada and towards the west of Canada. They have legends of what is called, Sabe and stuff. And they actually have a very particular interesting legend that we can cue that if that Native American video is ready to go, we can play that.
Oh, yeah, I can play that. Yeah, let me pull it up.
So basically, their stories are, they have stories of wendigos and stuff, and usually these are ice giants that have ice jewels or ice hearts, and typically more like a possession type of entity and stuff. Sometimes Bigfoot gets involved with that because it's a giant, sometimes hairy monster that eats people. But they have a particular story that talks about their 7 grandfather teachings, and these are basically their 7 teachings on how their tribes would be guided and stuff. This was bestowed upon them by a young boy, their cultural hero, Nana Bajo, who would grow up and go on many different adventures and to explain the world, creation myths, and different things. I think this is the same character. If not, this is just a little boy who was taught this to teach the tribe and stuff. Basically the animals come up like the eagle comes, the bear comes teaching courage and stuff, wisdom, and beaver and the wolf, and one particular very interesting creature comes. And if you want to play that video,
it's uploading right now. It's processing,
okay.
So it should be here any second.
Sorry.
Oh, it's here now. It's about 1:50 seconds long. So I'm going to play. It's going to take everybody off the screen here for a second. We're just going to watch this real quick, and we'll be right back.
After the bear left, the young boy was startled by a large noise. Something was stomping through the bush, and it was getting louder. The boy stood on guard as the treetops swayed. Whatever it was getting closer. Then silence. The only sound that the boy could hear was the sound of something breathing. Then he noticed a pair of eyes glowing in the darkness. Using all his courage, the boy stepped towards them. Slowly, a towering being covered in hair emerged from the bush. The boy froze as this massive human-like creature stood over him.
Young man, I bring you the law of honesty. To be honest is to be someone who is trusted and who speaks with truth. To never lie and always be genuine. Say what you mean what you say, and always stay true to your values.
Long ago, there was a giant called Kichisabe. You may know him as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. The Sabe teaches us to never lie or gossip. Be honest with yourself and others. Speak from your heart and be true to your word. The young boy, mesmerized by the words shared by the large being, held his heart as Sabe vanished into the darkness. On his
That's a really good clip. And you know what that reminded me of, though, too? Like Esau out of the Bible, he was a hairy beast. He was tall. He was giant size. I don't know if he was ever classified as a giant, but you know,
He was hairy, right?
he was hairy.
His father, they tricked Isaac by skinning a goat and having goat fur, and then
Right.
he touched the goat fur, so that was the consistency of his hair, body hair. So it's very interesting. So that is the one of the 7 grandfather teachings. Now there's other animals that come to the boy and bestow, courage, honesty, love, humility, truth. I got them all in a picture, but so it's actually part of a bigger clip. And so basically the little boy fasts for 4 days, and on the 4th night, all the animals come to him, and Kichisabe, the giant, comes to him and teaches him that. So it's
Have you
very,
ever thought about
very
using that method when you go out investigating, maybe fasting for a few days, or?
Yeah, I have, could camp out for 4 days and fasting and overnight. I have played this clip and stuff and the bigger clip. No results yet, but I do use the Algonquin language, the Potawatomi variation to give a general greeting and a formal greeting, and just saying that has actually got me what seems to be acknowledgement of, I'm over here, a little bit of a tree snap or brush movement. And when we were over in Allegan County, actually, and we got that clip called the Creek audio, we were there for 3 days. And the second day we had that second day we started having activity on a trail, and we actually started chasing one. And one of the members, Tyler, had his thermal, a really nice thermal. And we chased it in the woods. It ran away. It came back to us on the trail. We chased it down the trail a little bit. It came back. I chased it in the woods. It jumped down this ravine. It jumped down, and then it sounded like it tapped the top of the trees as it was crashing down. And then we eventually went down into these creeks, down this 50-foot steep ravine, into this creek bottom. And me and this other researcher started getting a bunch of different vocalization audios of hissing. And we actually had a bowling ball size, give or take, maybe a little smaller, but, about that size, it seemed like, thrown into a creek, and you can hear it. And we, obviously the person that's with me reacts. I've been doing this for 20 years, since I was 13. And so I try to stay as calm and cool as possible, because that's the best thing you can do. You don't want to overact. But a lot of the times, a lot of the people with me, you can see it and you can feel it from them when they something is going on, and it is definitely life-threatening, because if that rock would have hit any of us like a bowling pin, we would have been knocked down and we wouldn't have been getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick with this clip and everything with Bigfoot and Sasquatch and stuff, do you think that the contact with Bigfoot obviously is different to the indigenous people than what happens now with us? Like, it seems like Bigfoot was more connected to that culture or those people during that time, because obviously Bigfoot does not want to connect with us now. I mean, he's been gone forever, but it seems like he had direct communication with the indigenous people, and would approach them. And I almost felt like they were true protectors of a tribe or location, anything compared to now. What are your thoughts about that, and the connection?
It depends on the tribe and stuff, but so the Algonquin family language group of tribes, they have that legend, which he's a part of their 7 grandfather teaching, which sounds pretty good. They also have a story. It's in a book that I read. It's called the Grandfather Book, and it's all of their basically legends and creation stories. And their cultural hero, which is Nano-Jabo, or Wana-Jabo, spelled with an N or a W, depending on how far west you go. He gives a story about, it's just a page and a half worth of information of this overall story of him trying to find his father, of this, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens. But in it, he goes to the redwoods basically, and he's sitting by a campfire, and he feels like he's having this feeling of being watched, and he sees glowing red eyes, and then he gets mind spoke basically. Well, he gets spoken to, and it is a Buckajawinian is what the creature says I am, which means wild.
Buckajawinian? Is that what you said?
Buckajawinian.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I practiced it a bunch of times.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Buckajawinian. It is something that isn't really referenced or in this grandfather book that was written by this Native American from the reservation of Wisconsin and approved by all the elders, which is in the front of the book. So this is just a very, very just tiny, almost insignificant part of the overall book. And so this part, he's speaking within me. He talks about his people, the Sasquatch people, and he also talks about, and he said they were able to converse without the mouth and stuff. You like mind speak potentially, and the Sasquatch or this thing says that he's understands some of his thoughts. He's been with him on his journey, and he answers some of the stuff about the heavens and the elements and stuff. But when he talks about his people, he says, "My people, my people." He talks about for future generations. You will know me as Sasquatch, Yeti, and Bigfoot, and my people. We will not congregate or associate with your people, but only the Ojibwa or the overall Algonquin Olia language group people will know of us and will honor us, and we will know of them, but we will not congregate with them and stuff. But our people will live off, will not construct buildings, or nor will we live in towns or villages. We will live off trail, and we will be a different kind of man. And it's very, very it's for a Bigfoot researcher finding this. It's like, what the heck? And it's so minuscule in the overall book. I find it fascinating. And but this was in a time where violence was not upon the earth. In many ages.
Gosh, when was that?
Because when the hero first senses the Bigfoot, he has the thoughts that haven't been on the earth in many ages of violence, of defending himself and stuff. But he calms his mind and he composes himself, and then they begin to converse, and they converse all night actually. And so, you know, it just makes me think, you know, if they are people and, you know, and it was a time of nonviolence, you know, just like people, you know, we're pretty violent nowadays, you know, maybe they're not so squeaky clean themselves, and you have different variations of Native Americans saying, well, there's this tribe of giants and hairy creatures that are eating us, or the bush Indians that will come and capture us and eat us. A lot of different tribes, when you look at, I will give you a website. It's called Native American or Native Languages or Native American Languages.org. And you can surf and find and learn how to speak native languages from any state that there are records of. But they also have legends, and basically their myths and creation stories will lead you over to like Bigfoots and other stuff. And there's a section where Bigfoot-like creatures compared to everything else that Native Americans have that are similar to Bigfoot but are not. And there's like 24 out of like 200 and something creatures and names that a lot of Bigfoot researchers like to say, oh, this is Bigfoot because it's a hairy giant, or it's a giant, like a Wendigo is a giant flesh-eating monster, you know, or like a Rougarou, which is not even a real Native American language name. It's a French name based off of what they were hearing the Native Americans say. And it was the loup-garou, which is the French word. And Rougarou is what the natives were trying to pronounce it as. So some of those stories are, you know, French influence with the werewolf stories, and some of the Native American different entities that they would talk about meshed together. But I have seen a dog man, and there are some other credible people that I believe have seen these canines, these wolves that stand up and walk. But again,
you saw dog man?
Yeah, I seen a wolf. Long story short, I thought it was a coyote because we don't have wolves this far south, but it was a massive wolf. I was like, holy crap, it's massive. It ran across the road, and it went in the field, and it stood up and started running like a person. And me and my girlfriend at the time seen it, and I wanted to stop, and you know, it was like, nope. But it stood up, and it was at least 6 foot tall, and it was running, and it was a massive wolf on all fours. So, and when it stood up, and this was again in a place where everyone, you know, in people's backyards, it ran less than 100 yards on the side of someone's house in a field. In the middle of it, it was dusk at October, so it wasn't dark out. Definitely, if people were looking out the window, they would have seen it. And so there are these creatures and stuff around.
You're talking about this. My dog is barking. I'm sorry. I have to excuse myself for a second. Will, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay.
Not a problem. As Emily takes a quick break, I'm going to continue here with Blake. Blake, so you've used all this, you know, instrumentation. You've used the language. You know, have you ever thought about maybe putting yourself in a different space of mind and going out there? I'm not sure how to put this. Maybe under some certain type of hallucinogens or maybe psychedelics. Have you ever tried doing anything like that, or like maybe melding the two, the investigation?
No. No, you know, when I was younger and stuff, you know, 21 and stuff, there was times where I drank alcohol and was out in the woods, but I really couldn't say if there was any absolute results that because of that. So that is something that, you know, you have to be professional when you go out there and be about it, you know, especially when your credibility of what you're actually witnessing is relying on your observation skills. So when you're out there, and I've been out there with, you know, former members that aren't members anymore who,
had some issues drinking stuff, and it gives you definitely a very brave, courage, and strong spirit, but there are definitely a lot of detriments that come into that, and
Right.
so I would not advise doing that, and
that.
also because you can't safely keep your guard up.
Right, of course.
And
Okay.
I think when you're around these creatures, they observe people a lot. When you're at camp, they watch, they see what you're doing, they listen to our conversations, they see how people react when a couple fights about being late or whatever the issue is. They see how people react, and I think they see our faces. And a lot of people say that when they look at the face of Bigfoot, it looked human, or they could look at the emotion that was giving them. And I think they can understand the emotions on our faces. And when you're out there, I think how you conduct yourself really lends into what happens. And I think having a little bit of respect can go a long way. And so I'm trying to do the Native American aspect, just being calm, cool, and collective, not chasing them, even though we have done some dumb stuff. For the most part, all of my encounters have been in good sport. I think, there's never been, but the clip that when Emily comes back, we can play, they threw this rock in the creek, and it was, to let us know, like, hey, we definitely are here. We can do whatever we want to you. There's really nothing you can do. I can smack this rock, this, small boulder, 20-pound rock at you in the middle of the darkness, and you're not going to see it. You're not going to hear it. You're not going to react to it. And you're just that's it. And it is a very powerful feeling when you are basically a toddler out there stumbling around. You can't see, you can't run. You're a toddler out there, and literally the size of a toddler to them. They are in full control.
I'm back, Blake. I have 3 other clips that you sent me. I have one that says the Lost Cryptids Conservatory at the front, and then I have 2 clips that is your partner or whoever's out with you in the woods.
It should have been, the next one.
What?
The Lost Cryptids one. It should be a black
the Lost
screen.
Okay, here we go.
What was that? No, did you hear that hiss?
Is that it, Blake? Hold on, before we go any further, is that it?
Yes.
You hear the hiss? Okay, all right. All right, here we go. We're starting over. Here we go.
What was that? No, did you hear that hiss?
That's a knock.
Oh my God, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Something just got thrown in the water.
Yeah.
So thrown in the water. Sound like a knock. Ooh.
Oh my God.
You hear a splash.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna repeat. Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Something just got thrown in the water.
Yeah.
And that's a creek bed where you're at?
Yep, that was the creek that I was talking about. You hear that?
Sabe.
You hear that?
Well, that's
Sabe.
wild.
I heard whistling. Was that whistling?
There's birds playing in the background, but you hear like this grunt, this sound. And it's responding to the Native American that I'm saying. I say Sabe, but I said Bosho Sabe, which is hello. Doing just an informal greeting.
Okay, let's play it again.
You hear that?
Sabe.
You hear that?
Sabe.
You hear that?
Sabe.
You hear that?
That sounds like it's really close to you, though.
I did amplify. I did enhance it. So So like the clips when they repeat, I amplify and I try to like bring up the loudest at the end of those repeating clips. But that
Okay.
all of that happened in that creek bottom with me and the other researcher, and that big splash is that boulder, um, bowling ball size 20-pound rock that got thrown and lands. I mean, it is like it drops straight down, and it was pretty intense moment. And he didn't want to stay, and I don't blame him either. And when we actually got back, there was an associate who was a little inebriated and stuff, and they had their own encounter, and it seemed the Sasquatch was pissed off at that person because it was playing loud music, and the loud music was disrupting what we were trying to capture in that creek bed actually. And I was kind of getting a little upset too, because like we're having actual activity, as you guys can hear, and like, you know, the closer we are trying to get over at camp, you know, the louder the music is. So it was kind of frustrating in the moment, but it was pretty intense moment. And that's why I say you guys stay calm, cool, and collective, be respectful, because if they wanted to, that rock could have landed on us, and I mean, we'd have been mush, you know.
Well, I have a question here, and if Will has follow-up question after this too. So, like, my research in Bigfoot right now is not outside my home. I have not gone into the woods. I don't know if I'll ever go into the woods, but like what I've researched is that it seems like too with indigenous background in that culture is that they did do ceremonies and rituals that actually brought forth a hairy beast or entity like Bigfoot. Have you done much research? Is there certain protocols you think would be beneficial, or for any other Bigfoot researchers to research this out, to possibly start doing these rituals that that the indigenous people did?
You know, no, it's a really complicated. It's more complicated than that, because you know each
Okay.
tribe. It's really hard to actually find Native American tribes talking about actually just Bigfoot. Most of the time, they're talking about
It's
these
multiple.
they're spiritual creatures, or they're
Mhm.
like Iron Nose, who actually has an iron nose that extends like Pinocchio to stab people. He's associated with Bigfoot by some pretty credible people that you know shouldn't categorize some of that where you have a 200-foot tall giant woman is you know a Bigfoot in some of these people. So like most of the time there's a lot of spiritual entities and spiritual stuff with Native American legends and in these creatures, and just because they're a giant and they're hairy doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually Sasquatch, especially if they're doing other things, or like the Wendigo and some of the Cherokee giants, like the stone giants, they talk about an actual stone golem with a jewel in its chest that is created by like a wizard or a sorcerer. And that is associated with Bigfoot, because there are other examples of native tales talking about these giant hairy creatures that would raid their tribes and would roll in mud and then roll in loose stone, and then they would have like a kind of like a coat of armor, and they were called stone giants also. So there's a lot of different stuff that you could really dive into, and that website, nativelanguages.org, and their legends and myths sections dive
Okay.
into a lot of different spiritual ghosts, alien stuff, not only Bigfoot, but other entities and cryptids. You know, it's very hard to pin down Bigfoot. You know, it's kind of like the mainstream narrative and stereotype. Like every tribe believed in Bigfoot and told stories, and in actuality, it's not the case at all. Most of the time, if you want to jump and make associations and you know disregard some of the stuff what the story actually says, then you can associate Bigfoot in all tribes, but not all tribes did talk about it. And a lot of tribes keep them have stuff they don't want to talk about, and they do have ceremonies and stuff that is not, you know, shown to white people and stuff. And there is there's a tribe out west. I can't remember what it's called, but it's the wild man on the picture graph of the wild man. And it's called the Mayak Touch. And their story basically is this wild man created people and got in a race with a coyote, or was helped in creating the people. Basically, when all the animals were like, how should these people walk on all fours or two legs? The wild man said on two legs like me. The coyote said on four. So they did a race, and they race, and basically the humans are made with two legs. And anyways, when the humans are made, they look at the wild man and they're scared because he's, monstrous looking. And so the picture on this rock, it's a pictograph is of this wild man who's crying and stuff. But recently, because of Bigfoot researchers who have took that story and then actually kind of peed off some people of the tribe, when they're talking about in their cultural center, they replaced the wild man with coyote and bear and stuff, and his bear is now the wild man and stuff because of this.
What do you mean bear? Like actual like grizzly bear?
No, yeah, they replaced the wild man Mayak Touch part of that story, and they put a bear into it. So now it was coyote and bear, like a grizzly bear.
Okay.
They don't want the association with Bigfoot anymore because they got rubbed the very wrong way because of a book that came out that basically tried to shove every Native American mythological story of anything into the Bigfoot category. And that pictograph got associated in such a way that dishonored them because it's their sacred ritual, and they actually have his real name that they don't tell people. And so I think there's a lot more behind it, and there's a lot more stuff we just don't know. And just, Native Americans just don't want to tell us, and it's some of their last stuff that they hold secret.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's the reason why, Blake, they want to hold it close to the chest? It's just that's because that's what they have left, Yeah,
I think so. And maybe Sasquatch, among other things, could be the last little secrets, the last things of the land that they try to hold on to. And I just don't know. We don't know because I've never really asked, but I don't think we would get the answers instead of being born into the tribe or being the next grand elder, the leader of the whole tribes or the reservations. Those are the people who know things or have hints of things or know of activity that other people just don't know about.
Would that be classified also as skinwalkers?
Yeah, some of the tribes like the Navajo on their reservation, they got the Navajo police. Yeah, they believe that stuff. And I got a buddy I can put you in touch with to come on, Ryan Tremblay. He is a, I wouldn't say expert, but he's definitely more of an expert on skinwalkers and their Native American names and how they're confined to an actual mountain range and stuff like that. So technically a skinwalker shouldn't be able to be in Michigan or California. The legends say they're bound within this mountain range and stuff, but he does a lot of research on that you guys would probably find fascinating.
Yeah, please message me about it. Cheryl Lynn Carter too. She's on our show next week, but she's been on the show. She's wrote books about Skinwalker Ranch and everything. That area does fascinate me. I classified it as a triangle, which is also part of a government land as well. So with these Bigfoots, and I think we did talk about this briefly on the first time you were on here. Well, hold on, I don't want to go that way yet. So in Michigan, where you are, is there any indigenous people? Have you ever taken anybody that's linked to an indigenous tribe that's Indian with you out? Have they been open to investigate Bigfoot with you at all?
No one from an official tribe or anything, but I have had people who are, different percentages of a Native American. Yeah, more than some. I mean, I got a little bit in me, but not like my friend Ben, who does the powwow and stuff like that. Has a regalia. I went out with him and stuff. He does more ghost paranormal stuff, but um, we have not had any results together. The first time we went out, we had separate groups. Me and him were leading separate groups, and we each had weird stuff going on, wood knocks and stuff being thrown, and maybe some vocals. But he felt like they were having ghosts on the other side of the area. They were having like paranormal stuff, and he captured some EVPs and stuff. So that's what I can say about that.
What's next for you, Blake? What's next on the horizon for you? I know that you've been in the the upper lower area of Michigan. You're thinking about maybe going any other areas to investigate?
To the Upper Peninsula. We are September 28th. We're doing the Michigan Bigfoot and Dogman Conference in Mason, Michigan, and so I'm going to be hosting that. And we got a couple speakers.
I have it shown up here on here.
Awesome. Yeah, it's actually going to be just $30 flat at the door and stuff, not 35. But I haven't made changes to that. So, I have 2 ex-law enforcement officers with close to 50 years of experience, one with 25 years, that each have Bigfoot encounters. And the one from Kentucky actually has a dogman encounter, and he investigates other mysteries and phenomena and stuff. But my buddy Val, who is from Michigan, the one law enforcement officer, actually took a photo and has his encounter. And he is a data miner and has, from my knowledge, the biggest database of Bigfoot, certainly in Michigan in the world, but in North America, potentially in the world. He has spent, ever since he retired, since like 2012-ish, profiling Bigfoot the same way you would profile a serial killer. And he has taken, and
That's interesting.
I believe him, over 100,000 reports and stuff that he's gone through. And I do not doubt it. And from the stuff that I've seen and he's presented, it is a gold mine of information and very vital to the research and stuff. But he, from his point of view, they are not furry friendly creatures. In fact, he says that there's like 23 Good Samaritan reports to multiple thousand Bigfoot harassment, gunfire reports, attacked, things like that. House getting slapped, Bigfoot peering in, watching your kids like a stalker, type of what thing, or loiter or a prowler is what he says. Bigfoot would do things that we would find socially unacceptable, and that
Right.
if a strange man did that, especially to women and stuff like some of these Bigfoot do, it's a big no-no, or with children. But yet Bigfoot's just watching the kids, is just curious, or that Bigfoot gets this kind of pass because it's the friendly forest hippie type of thing. And he's really saying, these things are very indifferent and do not care, and if given the chance, potentially might do something or get curious and take whatever they want and do whatever they want.
Well, Blake, an hour has already gone by so fast. This show goes by extremely, extremely fast. I've had your YouTube up at the Lost Cryptids Conservatory here. Anywhere else that people can find you want to follow, and we'll let you go.
Well, I got a Facebook page and a Facebook group by the same name, so you guys can join up that. And we'll be doing a live show here this Saturday. We'll be talking about animal eye shine and the potential that, of course, Bigfoot has its own eye shine and its own.
What's eye shine?
You know, when the light goes in the eye, you get that
Yeah,
reflection.
they have receptors, and it's like the leucidum, tapedum.
Oh, like the red eyes.
Yes, red eye shine and stuff, or eye glow,
okay.
because that's actually different than eye shine. Self-glowing eyes are, self-illuminated eyes or bioluminescence, and so we're going to talk
See,
about
I'm
what the
new to
natural
this.
world is, and
That's interesting. What are you going to do this? When are you doing this? I want to know about this.
Saturday. This is going to be Saturday.
Tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow.
Okay. At what time?
It's been a long. I'm not sure yet, but probably like I'm 4:00 ish.
Okay. Well, message me. I want to tune in on this. I want to know about this.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff, and maybe show off a little bit of audio that I've just been getting. Who knows? You never know when we go live. It's kind of sometimes a fiasco and stuff, but
we know that. We know
go a
that
little
here
wild,
on the Frick.
I'm so glad to have been on again. You guys are awesome, and
thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks for the wonderful time.
You're awesome. Thank you so much. We're gonna let you go and we'll close the show. But thank you, Blake. I'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye. There we go, Blake with the Lost Cryptids Conservatory. I really like him a lot. He has a lot of knowledge in Bigfoot, which we've had several guests on, and they all have great knowledge in Bigfoot too. But I'm really interested in the indigenous part of Bigfoot.
Yeah, that aspect of his knowledge is good.
Just all the cryptids, really, because I feel like, in what I've read about it, it all stems from the indigenous people in many ways.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, so very interested in see what Blake's going to do. That red eye or the glow eye, whatever he was talking about, I'm definitely going to listen in on that. I've never even thought about going down that rabbit hole either. So, but next week, thank you everybody for tuning in, by the way. We appreciate you all. We've seen some regulars in the chat. Please share this show out. That's all we ask for here on What the Frick Live. But next week, we're going to have Cheryl Lynn Carter. We'll probably tap in a little bit about Skinwalker Ranch, because I can't ever talk to Cheryl Lynn without Skinwalker Ranch, but she has a book out, Chosen, which is about the most popular top 10 UFO abductions. And I bought her book, and I've read 2 chapters of it. I'm sorry, Cheryl, if you're still watching, because she tuned in tonight. It's so hard for me to read a whole book, but I've read the first couple chapters of it. It's very good. It's well written so far. It's easy read, and I'm hopefully get through more and have more questions for her next Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place every Friday. Now, we have a really great lineup coming up also for September and October. Please, one more person, reach out. Ghost stories for October, Most Haunted. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Thank you, Will, for always being here, too. You're amazing. Couldn't do it without you. So thank you. And everybody, we'll see you next Friday right here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for What the Frick Live. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful, awesome weekend.